Ladies and gentlemen, g'day. Welcome back to the channel. Boy oh boy, do I have a few things to talk about today. These, as the title suggests, these are changes that Wargaming is going to be making when this Unreal Engine update comes in that honestly is going to ruin the game. Let's face it, there's no two ways around it. It's going to ruin the game. Don't get me wrong. I like certain things about this update. I like the fact that it's got improved graphics. I like the fact that there's improved physics now. I like the fact that the maps have been reworked and that certain maps are coming back. Awesome. I even don't mind the premise of tank sets replacing the tech trees. I'm still very questionable about that. I'm on the bench on that one. I'm not too sure, but I don't mind it. However, one thing I don't like, what's this supply drop thing? One thing I don't like, and it's really pissing me off about this, okay, is, first and foremost, there are certain things that are going to ruin the game, in my opinion. And I'm going to go through them right now. So, you may have differing opinions about this. I have my opinions. And I've spoken to certain people, and they too have their opinions. First and foremost, the biggest thing is win rates. Your statistics that you see right here, your win rate, your average damage, your, most damage in a game, accuracy, all that kind of stuff, that's all leaving. That's all going from the game. Now, you might look at mine and you're like, come on, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's only got a 50% win rate. Yeah, but you've seen my video on why I have a 50% win rate. Half my battles I'm lagging constantly, really badly. So unfortunately, I can't really get a good win rate or good stats because half the time I'm literally flying through the air and going through the ground, right? And people say, oh, just get better internet. Cool, I've got the best internet that you could possibly have. The Blitz servers are shit. You need to fix it. That's why the server merge is probably going to be good. But player statistics, all these player stats, the win rate, average damage, that's all going. That's all being removed from the game. What were Wargaming thinking? What were they thinking? There are literally so many people out there who pride themselves in getting a better win rate, who go from a 49% to 50%. Finally, I got to 50%. I feel so happy. Now I'm going to go to 51 and 52 and 53 and make my way to 60%. I can't wait. I'm going to grind and grind and grind. Awesome. Why would you remove that? Oh, why? You know what the reasoning was? The Wargaming staff was saying this. You know what the reasoning was? Because they want to limit the amount of toxicity in the game. What? Of all the things they could have removed, win rate and average damage is what they're going to be removing. Are they serious? Like, did they even consult the player base? No, this was not in the video that they released about this. I'm gonna go back to this point. Let's just talk about, first of all, the commanders. So the win rate thing is a terrible thing. That's going to ruin the game regardless. The commanders thing. Let's have a look at crew perks here, okay? These are crew perks. These are crew skills, crew perks, whatever you want to call them, for different types of tanks. With commanders, these skills here, these skills here that you might say like deadly accuracy, smooth turn, clutch braking, repairs, adrenaline rush, smooth turret traverse. Some of these skill perks, they're going to be implemented with the tank commanders. That's great. Each commander is going to have unique sets of crew skills and crew perks that you'll have. If you max out, let's say Duncan, for instance, if you max out his perks, you have an advantage over the other players. You will legitimately have advantages over other players. Certain other commanders, right? The other commanders that have specific types of skills that you can set for different types of tanks, it's going to break the system. There's players who are going to have like maxed out crew skills and crew perks for these commanders, and they will genuinely have an advantage over other players. The whole premise, as Wargaming was saying, was to make it easier for people to understand crew skills and crew perks, and of course give a more fair advantage, because apparently veteran players have a better advantage over newer players with the current crew skills and crew perks that we have, if we've grinded up to level 7, for instance, right? But that's not necessarily the case, because you actually have to work in the battle. You have to work in the battle to actually implement this, right? Like this here. This dispersion of a turning tank by 7%. That's not really much of an advantage. It's a bit of an advantage, but it's not really much of an advantage. Camouflage. Increasing tank camouflage by 21% for a tank destroyer. I mean, it's pretty damn good. It's somewhat of an advantage. But is it really? Is it really? There's certain perks that are advantageous, but a lot of the times it isn't really. Like Mentor, for instance, increases crew XP earned in battle by 5%. It just increases your battle experience, right? Penetrating boost. Provides 5% chance of scoring a hit with increased armor penetration. There is a commander that will actually give you more pen if you max out their crew skills and their perks. It's crazy. The commanders, I'm all for the commanders. I like the commander aspect, having a humanoid aspect into the game. I despise the design. I don't know what Wargaming were thinking, making the designs like some Fortnite Apex bullshit. They should have implemented realistic looking tank commanders for each nation. Then I'll be like, you know what? Awesome. That looks cool. That looks like tank commanders. And then they can do collabs with real life celebrities and people who've done tank movies and whatnot, like the Fury Commander, for instance, Brad Pitt. It'd be awesome to have that. But we don't. We have like a Red Skull. It'd be awesome to have Red Skull from the Marvel Universe. But no. Instead, we have these weird looking Fortnite characters that really pissed me off when I saw them. Did they consult the player base about this? No, they did not. So again, that is, I think, going to be something that will actually ruin the game. It will ruin the game. Not necessarily the perks becoming characters, but rather having that extra bit of advantage, having an advantage over other players. More so than what we have now. It's crazy. And I guarantee you things are going to be behind a paywall. There's going to be commanders that will come out that will have way more perks than others, and it's going to be behind a paywall. Wargaming says that it's not going to be, but I guarantee you they will do it. That's one of my grudges. Another thing. Tech trees. These things that we see here, that we've been following for ages, it's all going to go. We're not going to have tech trees. We're going to have tank sets. They're going to be based on playstyle, design, somewhat nation to some extent, right? But not necessarily all the time. Just, the armor profile setup, that kind of stuff. That's what it's going to be based on, right? Like, I get it for some instances, like this, for example, right? The 183 line doesn't make any sense because you got all these highly armored, non-turreted tank destroyers up until the Tortoise, and then you have the 183 all of a sudden that comes after. It just makes no sense. The tank line doesn't make sense. You're grinding to a tier 10 that has nothing to do with the tanks that you were previously playing. It's a completely different playstyle. Doesn't make any sense. So in this aspect, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. But what about all the other stuff? All the other tank lines make sense. It's crazy. It's honestly, I think I'm not opposed to the set system. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't think necessarily it's going to ruin the game in that sense, but if they implement it incorrectly and they do it in a confusing manner and they don't do it according to how each tank plays and the armor profile and the way it's supposed to be, and kind of do it like the tech tree is here, progressively getting, through the tech trees as you would normally, then that's going to be a problem. That, I think, will actually ruin that aspect of the game. It's going to make it more confusing. Because for all of us older players who've been playing this game for ages, or some people that have been playing this game for a year or 2 years, even a few months, they've kind of got the hang of the tech trees. It's going to be confusing. It's like learning a whole different mechanism all over again. So yes, I think, technically speaking, I'm for the changes to tech trees. I think it's going to be cool to have these tank sets and whatnot. But if they implement it incorrectly and they don't implement it effectively, it's going to ruin the game. It will ruin our experiences with the tanks. It's not going to be as fun. Okay? What about these lower tech tree tanks here? Droodles has said it many times. Lower tech trees, the lower tiers don't really matter. Some other people have been saying it again. Even Bushka says tier 3 is basically irrelevant at this point. He doesn't even care that the Kenny Otso was given out to so many players. It's basically irrelevant. Fair enough. I don't know. I think it's cool that we're going to be getting rid of all these tanks, but what I would recommend is if you want to have all these lower tier tanks, because they're going to remove them, by the way, they're going to put them in a vintage tier, right? If you haven't bought them back, I would suggest you buy them back. So like the T26, BT2, the BT7, all these lower tier, tier 3, tier 1 to tier 3 tanks, just buy them. Buy them, stockpile them in your garage. They don't cost anything anyway. Just keep them. That way, you're going to have some of these tanks, because if they remove them completely, well, you're not going to have them unless you've bought them. So that would be my recommendation. Anything else that we need to cover? Win rate. Let's go back to the win rate argument. It's... I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. What's my stats on this one? Let's have a look. 51% win rate. It's... I don't know. I've spoken to some people who have actually genuinely proper win rates and who genuinely care about the game and actually care about the statistics and the fact that they've grinded so much and they've played comps and they've played tournaments and everything like that that has mattered before in the past, and they're proud to show their statistics, that all their hard work is just going to be gone, or it's going to be gone like that in a flash. Disappeared, gone. So now you can't differentiate between who is actually a nupty and who is actually genuinely a good player. Who is a troll who takes pride in their crappy 30% win rate and like 300 average damage, who trolls the game, compared to someone who has, a 50-something% win rate and is decent and wants to actually get better. Like there's none of that incentive anymore to actually want to do better, to improve your stats. That's what I think is going to kill the game. It's going to ruin it. It's one of the biggest things here to ruin it. And apparently to Wargaming, no one's complaining about that. I guarantee you there's going to be heaps of people now complaining about the fact that win rate and statistics, so all those tanks that you've grinded and wanted to get aces in, it's going to mean nothing now. I don't know what to say at this point. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this gives you a better insight on things that I do not like about this update. And for those of you that think I'm advertising for Wargaming, I wouldn't have made this video if I am advertising for Wargaming. So, yeah. Anyway, love you all, guys. Take care. Look after yourselves, look after your friends and family, and stay safe on the battlefield. And, of course, peace in the Middle East. I'll catch you all later. Peace out.